I'm going to talk about China's education system. Here are the contents. The first part is the introduction. China's education system is one of the largest and most complex in the world, serving over 250 million students across various levels. This presentation exposes the historical, social, political, and economic influence on the education system, its key features, and the challenges it faces. Understanding China's education system is crucial due to its global significance and its role in shaping the country's economic and technological development. The next part. China is the world's most populous country with approximately 1.4 billion people. The education system must accommodate significant regional and socio-economic disparities, particularly between urban and rural areas. Mandarin Chinese is the official language of instruction. However, China is the home to 55 officially recognized ethnic minorities, some of whom have their own languages. While Mandarin is prioritized, bilingual education is implemented in some regions to support a minority language. China's modern education system was shaped by Confucian traditions, communicates ideologies, and economic reforms. The Gaokao, which is the National College Entrance Exams, it remains the key determinant of higher education opportunities, reflecting both meritocracy and systematic pressure. China's rapid economic development has led to increased investments in education. The government spends approximately 4% of its GDP on education, aiming to enhance innovation and global competitiveness. The next part is the structure of the Chinese education system. Pre-primary education is non-compulsory but growing in importance. Primary education and lower secondary education are compulsory and free, and upper secondary divided into academic and vocational tracks. Higher education includes universities and vocational institutions with a competitive admission process. And the next part is the key challenges. One of the most defining and challenges aspects of the Chinese education system is its high-stakes testing culture, centered around the Gaokao system. This system, deeply rooted in historical, political, and social influences, significantly shape students' academic experiences, future opportunities, and overall well-being. Which, while standardized testing is an essential part of education worldwide, the intensity and the consequences of the Gaokao make it particularly controversial and debated issue in China. So, emphasis on high-stakes exams in China can be tracked back into to the imperial examination system, which existed for over 1,000 years and determined government positions based on merit. This tradition instilled the belief that the rigorous testing was the most objective way to assess individuals and located opportunities, acting as the primary determinant of university admissions and by extension career prospects. The deeply ingrained Confucian values of academic excellence, perseverance, and respect for education further reinforce the significance of these exams. The dominance of high-stakes testing creates immense pressure on students, parents, and teachers. For students, success in the Gaokao can dictate their entire future, leading to long hours of study, ex- excessive tutoring, and mental health challenges, including anxiety and depression. This means the memorize vast amounts of information and perform well under extreme pressure. I can discourage critical thinking, creativity, and problem-solving skills. For parents, the Gaokao seems as a path to upward mobility, promoting significant financial investments in private tutoring and educational resources. Many families, especially in urban areas, dedicate substantial portions of their income to securing academic advantages for their children. In contrast, students from lower income rural backgrounds often lack access to high quality educational resources, depending socio-economic inequalities. Teachers and schools often face intense pressure to produce high performing students. Many schools, particularly elite institutions, prioritize the test preparation over holistic education, often at the expense of subjects like art, physical education, and social emotional learning. Teachers' performance evaluations and the school ranking are frequently tied to student Gaokao results, leading to a high competitive and rigid academic environment. Recognizing the drawbacks of the system, the Chinese government has introduced various reforms aimed at reducing test-related stress and promoting more diverse evaluation methods. This includes allowing students to take elective subjects, implementing comprehensive quality assessments, and encouraging vocational education. However, despite these efforts, the Gaokao remains the primary determinant of higher education opportunities, and the social expectations continue to drive intense exam culture. To address the challenge of China's high-stakes testing culture requires a balanced approach that maintains academic rigor while fostering creativity, critical thinking, and student well-being. Further investment in educational equity, curriculum reform, and mental health support will be essential in ensuring that students can strive both academically and personally in an increasing complex global landscape. Education requirements for migrant children is one of the most pressing challenges in the Chinese education system due to China's Hukou system. Millions of children from rural areas face significant barriers to accessing quality education when their family migrate to urban centers for work. These inequalities manifests in limited access to public schools, lowering educational resources, and social discriminations, ultimately affecting the long-term development of these children. The Hukou system, a household restoration policy established in the 1950s classifies citizens as urban or rural. Residents are tied access to public services, including education, to their place of birth. When rural families move to cities in search of better economic opportunities, their children often remain registered in their home provinces, making it difficult to enroll in public schools in urban areas. This results in many migrant children attend underfunded private schools or experience frequent school transfers, disrupting their education. Although the Chinese government has introduced policies to increase public school success for migrant children, many urban schools impose strict requirements such as the residence permits and additional fees that exclude these students. As a result, many migrant children are forced to attend low-quality private schools, commonly known as migrant schools, which often operates without proper funding, qualified teacher, or adequate facilities. These schools particularly lack experienced educators, modern teaching materials, and the proper programs, leading to significant educational disparities between migrant children and their urban peers. Further, some of these institutions are subject to closure by local government, leaving students with limited options and further disrupting their learning process. Government reforms. The government has introduced policies to integrate migrant children into the urban education system, including allowing them to take the Gaokao in their city of register rather than their local register province. However, implementation remains inconsistent across cities and many barriers persist. Addressing educational inequalities for migrant children requires systematic reforms, including hukou policy justice, increased public school funding, and teacher training programs to support diverse student populations. Greater efforts in reducing discrimination, improving school facilities, and providing financial support for migrant families will be essential in ensuring equal educational opportunities for all students in China. And teacher shortage and quality gaps remain significant challenges in Chinese education system. Many educators, especially in urban schools, face heavy workloads, long hours, and high expectations to prepare students for standardized exams like Gaokao. Many students lack professional development opportunities, face social isolations, and have fewer career advancement prospects, making it difficult to retain skilled educators in these areas. These regions, without access to continuous training, many teachers struggle to implement student-centered learning approaches and innovations in structural techniques. To solve these challenges, intensive programs such as salary bonus and housing subsidies to attract teachers to rural areas, sending teachers to the countryside programs, which encourage young graduates to work in rural schools, improving teachers' teaching certification standards to ensure higher teaching quality across all regions. And here's the reference. And that's all for this presentation. Thank you.